ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप
करुणामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं
श्रीगुरुपदकमलं श्रीगुरुजातं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां भजना श्रीविशाखान्वितं जगत्पते
गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते।
गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि।
हरे प्रिये
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री
श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे
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 राम
हरे राम राम
राम
राम हरे 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 कृष्णा. Thank you, children, for joining the class. So last week, yeah, Rohan, Dikshit, you could not come. Krishna Priya, you two also could not come. Okay, so which chapter are we in now?
Why you not get to
A chapter, no, no. Which chapter are we in?
7th chapter, Mataji.
Very good. Did all of you fill up the quiz?
yes Mataji.
Yeah. Today I am going to close the quiz. Did all of you fill up? Rohan?
No, Mataji, I should fill up Mataji.
Yeah, please. Once I post, immediately fill it up because later you will forget. If you miss any one quiz, you will lose the average score. Okay. So we are in 7th chapter. Okay. 7th chapter. From 7th to 12th chapter. What are those chapters together called? 7th to 12th chapter are called
Bhakti Yoga.
Yes, Bhakti Yoga. So till in the first 6 chapters we discussed about the Karma Yoga. Now we are discussing about the Bhakti Yoga. Here in the initially till now in the from 1 to in the starting, Krishna has talked about his glories because to develop bhakti on Krishna, nor to develop bhakti or liking or love on somebody, we should see the greatness in them. Only when we see some greatness in somebody, then only we will like them. So to like Krishna, to love Krishna, to develop bhakti on Krishna, we should know about Krishna totally. So here Krishna has revealed about himself. In the first few chapters, he talked about his greatness and other things. He also told that he is the maintainer of everything and he is the source of everything. We shall discuss in detail again once. Okay. Then he talked about various people, various bhaktas, what kind of bhaktas are there, and he told how people in the because we are all covered under the modes of Maya, various modes. We are all under various modes. We we get deluded, and then we go to demigods for our fulfillment of our wishes, desires. So and some people, because of their ego, they don't like to accept Krishna, so that way they won't accept Krishna. He talked till now about all this kind of people. And finally, he said, wherever you go, whatever you do, you have to surrender onto me. Whoever surrenders onto me will slowly get their karmas cleared, and if not in this janma, in this life, at least in the future coming lives, we will one time reach Krishna. So till now he spoke about surrendering onto himself. Now, from now, because all of us have these doubts, Krishna is God, okay. What about others? What about Sun God? What about Shiva? What about Indra? Should we worship them? Should we not worship them? Should we worship Durga Mata or not? So he is going to clarify about worshipping the demigods. From chapter 20, he is going to talk about worshipping of demigods. Okay, so now, so who is going to read Sloka 20? Rohan? Yeah. Rohan, are you reading chapter 20th Sloka? Or shall I ask Krishna Priya to read? Krishna Priya, you can read.
Yes, Mataji. कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्ते न्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया. Translation. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures.
Hare Krishna. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires. All of us have intelligence. Okay, but see, if you observe ourselves keenly, certain times we think very intelligently, and certain times we think and act very foolishly. Why? Because at that time, because of various reasons, our intelligence will be stolen away by the material desires. I know some men like every morning getting up early and doing chanting is a good thing, but I don't do. Why I don't do? Because the sleep, I go to bed very late, and then the material desire I have is that I want to spend more time in the night on some reading book, watching TV, or something like that. So because of that material desire, I don't sleep early, and so I don't get up early. So what is happening? My intelligence, which tells me that I should get up early in the morning, which is good for health, which is the right way to live, also it is stolen away by the material desire, and we don't do it. And then and here he says, desire, surrender on to demigods. So because of the because our intelligence is stolen away by material desires, we surrender on to demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. Why we surrender on to demigods and why not to Krishna is very clear. See, demigods also, our scriptures say we can worship demigods also. We many times we discussed who are demigods. Demigods are also devotees of Krishna only. They are devotees of Krishna, but what is happening? They have done so much of devotion that, and because of their material desire, they have got a better birth than human beings. That means, suppose there is an office And many of us have joined the office. Those who are doing more intelligent work and more intellectual work, what will happen? They will be promoted to some manager post. So the manager here will have some powers. So I want one half day leave. What will I do if I hesitate to go and ask the highest boss for half day leave? So what I have to do immediately, I try to please my immediate boss who was once my colleague and now got promoted. And so I go and ask him. He will immediately sanction because his access is easy. That is one thing. Another thing is, we know will have some hesitations in going and asking the top boss. So it's easy to approach a nearby person and various reasons like that. And also we know that our immediate boss, because once he was our colleague or whatever, he will excuse all our small mistakes and he will sanction whatever I want. Whereas the top boss knows what is good for the company, what is good for you, and various things. And before taking a decision, he thinks in all these directions and gives a blessing or fulfills our desire. So we have our own doubt that our desire may not be easy to get fulfilled there, and it is easier to get fulfilled at a lower level. So we try to go to the lower level. So that way we all approach the demigods who are none other than devotees of Krishna only, and the power to them to fulfill our desires. From where did they get that power? That power also they got only from Krishna. So when we worship demigods, what happens is they in turn get the power to fulfill our, because the top boss has given a power to the lower person to sanction 1 day leave or 3 day leaves. He is able to sanction. Suppose I want a promotion. My immediate boss cannot give that promotion. The immediate promotion has to be given by the top boss only. So that way, there is a difference of giving the benedictions also. So these demigods also have take the shelter of Krishna only. And then, but we should always be clear, if we come out of the influence of Maya, it will be very easy for us to go to Krishna. So because we have too many material desires and we want all of them to get cleared, we normally go to the demigods. And when we are doing our SSR sessions, we were very clearly, we talked about the demigods and the karma also. See, suppose I have to undergo certain karma. Suppose I have a disease which I have to undergo because of my bad karma or whatever reason. I got the disease and I don't want to undergo the disease. I don't want, suppose I'm getting very bad headache because of my bad karma. I don't want to undergo that. So I go and do prayer, a sincere yajnam, yagam, something to a demigod. And then then ask him to say, I don't want this headache anymore. Please relieve me from this headache. So because I have please the demigod in full sense, he can always take away the headache for me. But why am I undergoing that headache? Because of my karma, which I have to undergo. So what is the power of demigod? He can only postpone my suffering. That means in this life where I am supposed to undergo my headache, because of my worship to the demigod, it has got postponement to the next life. That's all. So I cannot evade my karmas by praying to demigods. I can only get them postponed. So we should be very cautious in praying to the demigods. But if you approach Krishna, because Krishna is the top boss, and if you please Krishna, he is the person who can remove our karma. If you approach Krishna and if Krishna is satisfied with my devotion or with my love with him, he will say, okay, no more headache for you. Whereas the demigods cannot say no more headache for you. He will say temporarily you will be relieved from the headache. That is the difference between praying to Krishna and praying to the demigods. So here Prabhupada also says, a devotees will have no desires, whereas the material desires, all the karmis will have material desires, whereas the jnanis will look for liberation. Whichever category we are in, take the shelter of Krishna, and ultimately we will reach the liberation. So we have to be very clear who these demigods are, and whether we should pray to the demigods and to finally to Krishna. So if you pray to Krishna, demigods also, slowly we will go slowly we will elevate ourselves to higher levels, and one day we will have to become the devotee of Krishna. So nothing wrong in doing it, but it's a slow process. 71. Yeah, Harshit, you would like to read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yo yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddha yarchitum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tam eva
Vidamyaham.
vidamyaham. Translation: I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity.
Yeah, I'm in everyone's heart. This we have been talking many times. Krishna is there in our hearts as a supreme soul. As soon as one desires to worship a demigod, see, Krishna is a very kind-hearted person. So we must understand here. Suppose there are, what normally a material like us, what will happen? Suppose somebody is there in the house, if he is liking more our siblings, our brother or sister than us, normally nobody will do that. But if you feel that the grandfather, mother or father is showing special interest on somebody else, what does we do? We feel envious and we get angry on them, and we try to somehow degrade the next person. So we try to do, but Krishna is a kind-hearted father. So what he said, as soon as one desires to worship the demigod, I make his faith steady. What he will do is, he will not take care that he will slowly, suppose I am praying a demigod to Surya Bhagwan, he will not make sure that something will happen so that I will lose my faith on Krishna. Sun God. He will only bless me or guide me in such a way that I will develop more faith on the sun god, so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. At least, if rather than sitting idle and not doing anything, praying to some god is good. So that way Krishna will promote it. Okay. So here, because why Krishna does it? Because demigods are also devotees or servants of all the devotees are servants of Krishna only. So demigods are also servants of Krishna only. So here, when we pray to demigods, how it will be is, suppose our prime minister comes, and then a police officer comes along with the prime minister. The police officer also comes, or the chief minister will come. So there is a big meeting which is arranged. When the prime minister comes, what we should do? We should talk about the prime minister, glorify the prime minister. If we have any desires, we should ask the prime minister. Suppose we don't do that, and on the stage, we get an opportunity to speak, we will not ignore the prime minister totally, and because the chief minister, we know him very well, we will keep on praising the chief minister and ask all our desires to the chief minister. What will the chief minister think? The chief minister will feel very embarrassed. What is this fellow doing? He should talk about the prime minister. Why is he talking about me? What will the prime minister think? I am in turn praying to the prime minister. I am being very obedient to the prime minister, and this fellow is coming and talking to me. Why he is doing like this? So the chief minister will become very embarrassed. That way, so if a lower person also, you should always say, because of this chief minister, I understood the prime minister. Because of the blessings of the prime minister, the chief minister is giving us all this. That way, if you can do, he'll be happy. Instead of that, just ignore the higher boss and then keep praising the lower boss. He will feel very embarrassed. And Shiva also in his Shiva Sutras and various places say that who worship Krishna are very dear to me. Because Shiva is also a devotee of Krishna. Shiva says, those who love Krishna, I love them more. And see, we have discussed that for temporary benefits and certain benefits which Lord Krishna won't give, people will go to the demigods. So, as we all know, we call Shiva as Bola Shankara. That means we just praise him little, he will start giving all the benedictions. So what all these demon, if you see demon, they got lot of boons from gods, from demigods. But if you see, none of those boons, the bad boons, are from Krishna or Vishnu. They are all either from Brahma or Shiva, mostly Shiva. He is called as Bola Shankara because little prayer we do him, he get pleased and he gives whatever he wants, somebody wants. So that way, normally people, those who wants immediate results or less priority results or bad results, they go to the demigod. But Krishna keeps them very steady. Krishna doesn't feel envy about them. He says, okay, at least you pray them rather than sitting idle and not doing anything. One day you will come to me. So here we all have got the free will. We all talk about it, about the free will. So the free will, we are not using it for the for praying to Krishna. We are using it in a wrong way and praying to the demigods. Okay. Here, because the free will means anything. If you want to go to Krishna, nobody can force us. We have to go to him on our own. When we do that voluntary, only Krishna will be happy. Suppose your father, parents force you to do pray Krishna, and if you do also, hey, what is this headache? Why am I forced to do like that? I'll do some prayer. Krishna will not be happy. You should do it voluntarily. Okay, like Shastra also recommends prayers to demigods. Like all of you before in the school, when you go in the morning hours, most of the schools they pray to Saraswati because she is the Lord of knowledge. She gives a good education. You pray. So that way you have to pray. You can pray, but you should pray to them, but you should not ask benedictions. You should not ask for boons. Automatically they will come. So like Krishna is in our hearts, so he will be in demigods' hearts also. So he will be doing good to us there also. Yeah, 72. Yeah, Rohan, you can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktastasya Radhanami Hate Labhate Tataha.
Kamanya eva.
Kamanya eva vihitam hi tat. Translation: endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Endowed by such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtain his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me only. So, how are these demigods? If they have to fulfill our desires, they need some powers. From where are they getting the powers? They get them from Krishna only. Demigods don't forget the super soul. Based on our mental status, Krishna gives us love on each one's. See here also, like when we pray to Krishna also, he is very careful in giving. Suppose sometimes we develop ego that we are great devotees of Krishna. That also is bad. That also we should not have. Like Sudama, that is Kuchela, friend of Krishna, even though he was very poor, he was very egoistic, thinking that I am a friend of Krishna. I don't really look for richness. I don't want any richness. So like that he used to think. But his wife forced him to go to Krishna, so he went to Krishna. So, but that thinking that I don't want anything, I don't want richness, I am a friend of Krishna, that kind of ego also Krishna doesn't like. So what did Krishna do? He gave him a lot of richness, and then that ego is gone there. And so Bali Maharaj also was thinking, I can give everybody whatever they have. I am the greatest Danaka. That means I am the person who can keep on giving donations. Nobody can stop me from anything. That kind, even though he's a great devotee, he had that kind of a ego. So, because he had that kind of ego, what did Krishna do? He went as a small Brahmin boy and he asked for 3 steps of, when Bali Maharaj asked him, what do you want? He said, I just want 3 steps of land. Even though all his well-wishers advised him, no, 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 why will anybody ask for 3 steps of land? Something wrong is there. But this Bali Maharaj is so proud about himself. Okay, he's asking, I'll give. What is wrong? Why I cannot give? I will give. And he said, okay, take it. So what did Krishna do? Krishna kept his foot totally on the earth, 1 foot, and the other one on the sky. And he said, now where do I put my 3rd leg? Then Bali Maharaj then understood that this boy is not a small boy, he is none other than Lord Krishna. And then all his ego was gone. Then he said, okay, Krishna, put your leg on my head. So that is how he has pushed him to the Patada Lokam. So that way, thinking that I am a great devotee is the greatest thing we do. That also we should not say. We should always think I am the servant of Krishna. That way we should think. Only then Krishna will bless us. Okay. And then, okay, now we'll go to 23. Sagana? Sri Sagana, will you read? Hare Krishna. Are you there, Sri Sagana? Okay. Vishnu Priya, you can read this.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Antavattu valam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Translation. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my planet.
Supreme planet, very good. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, and my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So here we should be very clever in choosing our word also. Like we have to understand that demigods are also temporary. Because when they are temporary, they cannot give us anything permanent. So here, whatever, so if we are very intelligent, see, in the house, you know that your father is the top boss. When you know your father is the top boss and your father is the decision maker, if you go and ask your brother, he might accept, but your father can always undo it. Your father or mother can always undo it. And your father will say, okay, you asked, your brother has asked you not to, that he doesn't want to study. Okay, you accepted it. Okay, I am agreeing it for only today. From tomorrow, he has to study. That way, your father can always undo it. So, but if you go and approach Krishna, Krishna, because he is permanent and he gives a boon to us, nobody can undo it. Only so, if we have real intelligence, we will pray to Krishna. If we are less intelligent, we will pray to the demigods. And so that the fruits or the results are temporary. Those who worship demigods go to the demigod place. And because we always think, what is this? Whatever we desire, what is it, Sloka? Whatever we desire, Krishna will give. So when we desire Krishna, we'll go back to permanent loka, goloka. If you pray to a demigod, every demigod will have a planet of his own. We will go to the planet, and from there he will one day will come back. So but he says, by praying to the demigod, slowly you will develop devotion. When we develop devotion, one day we will understand who the Supreme Lord is, and we will change our mind onto him. So if we worship Krishna, we will go back to Krishna. So and the demigods are like limbs of Krishna, like we always say, no, Surya Chandra are the eyes of Krishna. So that way, each part of Krishna is saying, we say that it's all these demigods form parts of Krishna. So why should we worship a part of Krishna? We can as well worship the whole of Krishna. And some people worship Guru. That is also not wrong, because only when Guru guides us towards Krishna. Why do we, in our prayer, whatever prayer we are doing every day, what is that we do? We say, but take us out of our ajnana and timirandasya. So we pray, take us out of our ajnana and guide us to the right knowledge. That is the Krishna. So he should guide us to Krishna. Here the difference is only our consciousness. So, here our consciousness should be very clear, and then we should think that we should not have, when we have no material desires, we won't have any problem. We can easily go to Krishna. Yeah, 24th sloka. Sagana, are you there?
Mataji, can I read?
Yeah, read.
Yes,
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Yeah,
Bhagavad Gita 7.24 Sloka. Avyaktam
Pannam.
Vyakita apannam manyate mam abuddhaya param bhavam rajananto mamavayam anutamam. Translation. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly, saying that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality due to their small knowledge. They do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly. Previously, he said when demigod worshippers are less intelligent. But here he is telling unintelligent. That means people with no intelligence think that I am do not know that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They do not understand that I am the Supreme Personality. And they think that we am impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. We all know that Krishna is also has got a form. These people think that he has got no form. So we, in our SSR classes, we studied very clearly. See, without ears, how can one hear? Like we are doing a lot of prayers. How can Krishna hear them if he has got no ears? If he cannot see, when whatever we are doing, good or bad, how is he seeing? How is he eating the food we are serving, prasadam we are serving? So they think that he is impersonal, and now he has attained a personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature. See, here we have to be very clear. When we want to understand something very great, even we should have that knowledge to understand that. His knowledge is imperishable. That means it is always there. It has got no end and supreme. So like we always, like you are all children. Suppose I give you a engineering book and say you study and write the exam today, tomorrow. What will you study? You won't understand anything. Or if I tell a story which is totally unknown to you, what will you think? Arey, what this Mataji is talking is all rubbish. It is not true. It won't happen. I tell you some scientific research which is far beyond your head. What will you think? It's not possible. It is not correct. It is not true. Why are you not saying that? Because you are so small that you cannot understand such an intellectual thing. So that means, which does not mean that the real intellectual thing, whatever I am talking, is not there. It is because you are still small, you are not able to understand. So these people have no intelligence. So they don't understand Krishna. They think he has got no form. And like we always talk about this, the example of a frog. There was a frog living in a well. So it was born there, it was living there. So as far as the frog is there, it knows its world is that well only. So one day, another frog somehow from an ocean came into that well. And then the outside frog keeps explaining this frog that there is a bigger world outside. Then this frog in the well says, bigger world? Bigger than this well? Is it possible to have something bigger than this well? Then the frog says, no, it is big. Then this frog says, it is this big? No, that frog says, not this big. It's, oh, that big? It says, no, it's still bigger. Then he says, what are you talking? How can there be something very big like that? No, what you're talking is not right. That way, when we don't understand what that big is, what that greatness is, we think it is not there. That's the easiest thing. So that way, people with no intelligence will think that he is impersonal. Okay? So we should always remember that Krishna is the most powerful. So one must understand Krishna by devotion. How do we understand Krishna? Just only when we do devotion, we will understand Krishna. Only when we study Bhagavad Gita and understand Bhagavad Gita, we will understand Krishna. And not by just mental speculation. Oh, this can be true, that cannot be true. That may be true, it may not be true. Just by mental thinking, you can never understand. You should study, hear, and do devotion. Then only you will understand. And here Krishna, and also whether we understand or not, whether we accept Krishna or not, it just doesn't make a difference for him. It's not important for him. I say, no, Modi is not the Prime Minister of India. What will happen? What will happen to Modi? Nothing will happen to him. He will, and my friend who is sitting next to me will think this lady is a foolish lady. How come she is telling Modi is not the Prime Minister? That's all. Modi doesn't lose anything. That way, Krishna, it just doesn't make a difference whether we believe him or not. Whether we say he has no form, whether we say he has no name, whether we say he has got no shape, no abode, no place, no father, mother, whatever we say, Krishna says, okay. Think like that. What do I lose? What do I lose? That way. Why are these people talking like this? Is because they are covered by Maya, the illusion. Okay, even when Krishna was on his planet, like on this planet, on earth also, many people did not, like now we are not seeing Krishna physically, but we still believe him. Some when Krishna was on this planet also, many people like Duryodhana, they saw Krishna. In fact, Dhritarashtra, once Krishna shows his Viswarupam in the Mayasabha. So when he, not in the Mayasabha, when Krishna comes for making an deal between these two Kauravas and Pandavas before the war, then Krishna shows his Viswarupam to Dhritarashtra. Even then, he doesn't accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. So, what does Krishna lose? Krishna doesn't lose anything. It is their foolishness. Similarly, when he was on the planet, he was doing a lot of leelas. Like even out of devotion, also sometimes we don't. Out of love, also sometimes we don't accept. Like Gopas, when Krishna was doing great, killing great Rakshasas and other things, when somebody comes and tells you, hey, Krishna is a god. So Gopas used to say, oh, okay, he's a god. So what? He's my friend. Or they used to say, hey, he's not a god. He plays with us. Sometimes I win over him on the match. How can he be a god? And even Mother Yashoda, when somebody says your son is a god, he used to say, what are you talking rubbish? How can my son be a god? When there is a big thunder outside, he gets so frightened and comes and hides under my sari. And when he feels hungry, he cries and then comes to me for milk. If he is God, why will he do all this? Then she also never believed. That way, either we are in too much of devotion, that kind of a different kind of devotion, or that is Madhurya Rasa, or when we have no intelligence, we don't accept Krishna. But here, his my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme, because whether they accept or not, because of their small knowledge, they don't understand. But my higher nature is my higher nature. That's what Krishna says. Because we are all covered by Maya, but Krishna is not covered by Maya. If we have to understand this concept, we being covered by Maya, Krishna not being covered by Maya, but we think Krishna is under Maya. Like the sun is there, giving light to the whole world. Suddenly a cloud comes between ourselves and the sun is covered. So what do we say? We said the sun is covered with cloud. But can the sun be covered by the cloud? No. Only the place where we are, that place is covered by the cloud from the sun, not the total world. We just go a furlong that side, again there will be hot sun. So it is not the sun which is being covered under the cloud. It is the place where we are, or we are covered under the cloud. That way we should understand. Yeah. Jitesh, will you read 7.5? Hare Krishna, Jitesh. Are you reading 75, 25? I'm not able to hear you, Jitesh. There is a lot of voice disturbance. No. No, Jitesh. No, Jitesh. You next sloka you can read. Sagana, please read this sloka. Hare Krishna, Sagana. Are you there? Where is this girl? Okay. Jitesh, are you reading or Krishna Harshit will read? No, Jitesh, not able to hear you. Your Wi-Fi is weak. Switch off your video. Switch off your video and read.
Can you hear me now, Mataji?
Yeah, now good.
Naham prakashya sarvesha yogamaya samavrita
Mudho.
muddoyam.
Yeah.
Mudoyam
Nabhijanati.
Nabhijanati loko mamabi avyayam. Translation: I am never manifest of the foolish and unintelligent for them. I am covered by my internal policy, and
And see,
therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible.
yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. That means he will never be understood by the foolish people and unintelligent people. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know what that I am unborn and unfallible. That means that he has no birth or death. They do not understand that Krishna has no beginning or end. Hmm? Okay, so here we have discussed about this already, that Krishna, these foolish people, they can never understand Krishna. And then, and also they always think that like because they are under the influence of Maya, they think that Krishna is also like that, and they never appreciate the greatness in Krishna. 2:6. Jite, Rohan, will you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I will read Mataji.
Yeah, read.
वेदहं समतीतानि वर्तम् आननि चार्जुना भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन. Translation: O Arjuna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all the things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Hare Krishna Mataji.
O Arjuna, Krishna addresses him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, and that it is present and happening in the present, and that things what are happening are going to come also. He knows the future also. Krishna says, I know the past, I know the present, I know the future. He knows everything, but he understands and knows all the living things. That means I might look like this, I might act like a devotee, and if I am not a devotee, and internally in my mind, if I have a different thoughts, Krishna knows. He knows, he understands all the living entities. Within heart, what is happening also Krishna knows. But me, no one knows. But we can never understand Krishna. That is what Krishna says. Because why we cannot understand Krishna? The example I told you. If I give you an engineering book and ask you to read, you can never understand. Only when you go to engineering, then for you it will be very easy. Oh, this book, we understand. So that way, to understand Krishna, we have to elevate our level. We have to become a devotee. When we become a devotee and develop lot of love and faith on Krishna, then only we will understand Krishna. When something bad happens to us, normally we have the tendency of blaming Krishna. Why Krishna? Why are you doing all this to me? Every day I'm doing chanting, every day I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, but still why are you doing all this? That way we question him. But if you really understand Krishna, you will know why Krishna is doing all that. So it's not easy to understand. And in the beginning also, in the second chapter itself, Arjuna has asked him, Krishna, you are telling that everything has come from you. How come? No, he didn't say that there. He said all the knowledge Krishna has come from Krishna, and he has given to Vivaswan from Vivaswan. So he explains the Guru Parampara. So then Arjuna asked him, Hare Krishna, you are also born along with me a few years, that side, this side. We are just 100 years old. So now how can you give this knowledge to Vivaswan, who have that is the Surya Bhagavan, who was born much thousands of years before you? That was the question of Arjuna. Then Krishna tells, for this life you are born now 100 years back, but Both of you and me have taken various lives, many number of lives, but you won't remember because you have a material body. Whereas Krishna will remember. Why? Because he has a spiritual body. Because he is the ultimate. He will remember. What will we remember? We will only remember. uh, we will not remember anything. Mostly we will not remember anything to our next life. Very few cases some people remember. What do we remember? Certain likings, dislikings, certain fears, certain egos. That is all we will remember. That's how our character will be made next life. So if we develop our character in a good sense in this life, the same good character will be carried on to the next life. So only the vasanas which we have in this life will be taken there. Very rare people Krishna can understand him. Only a devotee who has love and faith on Krishna can understand him. Okay. Yeah, Harshit.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
इच्छादेशसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप. Translation. O Shian of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by
Dualities.
aeration from desire and hate.
O sons of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities. Delusion means into Maya, and bewildered by dualities, this or that, arisen from desire and hate. See, this desire, because dualities means my liking is always not my liking. Tomorrow that will become a dislike. And some dislike will become like, and dualities arising from desires and hate. So the how it will be like in the night when I am supposed to sleep, then I don't want to sleep. I want to sit and do something. And in the morning when I am supposed to get up, I don't want to get up. I want to sleep. That way, the same sleep. That time you don't want to sleep. Now you want to sleep. And in winter, you don't want any AC, any fan. You just won't like it at all. But in summer, you will like the same AC or the fan. Okay. So that way, our likings and dislikings will change. So our hate and love also will change. For example, if you take when you have some desire, you want to eat some very good food prepared by your mother. Then you want your mother to be in the house and then prepare a good dish for you and serve you. But after that, you are supposed to study. You don't want to study. You want to play. Then you don't want your mother to be in the house. You think, why mother is not going out? She should go out. The same mother. But at that time, you want her to be in the house. This time you want to be outside, because that way our likings, disliking, hates, everything keeps changing. It's not stable. Our liking or disliking should be very stable. So that way here says conqueror of foe means, so, and all entities are born in delusion, confusion, and so we are all in a confused state. 38. Krishnapriya, will you read?
येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रतः. Translation. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
persons who have acted poisely in previous life and in this life, and whose sinful acts are completely eradicated and freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So people who acted poisely in the previous life, like in the last life, I did not do any mistakes. This life, I have not any mistakes, and doing very good devotion for last few lives. All my sins are eradicated and freed from the dualities of delusion. Once all this is cleared, and when I'm doing only poise activities, means I have no dualities, this or that or that or this, because my aim is very clear: worship Krishna. So whether there's an AC or a fan, my mother in the house or father in the house, it just doesn't make anything. I know I have to study well, I have to do something, I have to come first in the class. So my concentration is always on the study. All my external, the ACs, the fans, the parents in the house, the relatives in the house, nothing will influence me. My concentration will be same. That way our concentration on Krishna also should be the same. And they engage themselves in my service with determination. That means they are always under the service of Krishna. And then in the 16th sloka also, Krishna has told the same thing, the same connection. First three are, he talked about various bhaktas there. They are all Sakama bhaktas. The fourth is we'll talk about it. In addition to the first three types, here he is talking about the fourth type, that is the Moksha Kama Bhakta. He is talking about the fourth one, who worship Krishna, desiring liberation from birth and death. He talked about various four types of bhaktas in sloka 16. But now he is talking about the Moksha Kama Bhakta, who is desiring liberation from birth and death. That means who is in favor of Krishna, praying to Krishna, saying that I don't want any more lives. Yeah, Harshit?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashritya Yatanti Ye Te Brahmatva Thad Vidu Krishnam Adyantanam Karma Chakhilam. Translation. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities.
Intelligent persons, Hare Krishna. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring from liberation from old age and death take refuge in me and in devotional service. What is taking refuge in Krishna is doing devotional service only, doing everything for him only. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything. When can we do all this? That means the Brahman means not Brahmin. It is Brahman who has got a Brahma Jnana, the knowledge about Krishna, about transcendental activities. So here Krishna is introducing a new type of devotee. Here in the second half of this sloka and in the next sloka, Krishna speaks about new terminologies about bhaktis, which will be continued in the next chapter. So the fourth type, what he talked about the previous, they say they have no desires at all and they do only devotional service. They do only devotional service. The intelligent people who are so first he said the intelligent people do bhaktis here, the unintelligent people do demigod worship, and no intelligent people will think that Krishna is not required to worship Krishna. They don't believe in Krishna. They don't believe that he has got a form. Okay, the last sloka. Rohan, will you read? 30th sloka. Hare Krishna. Okay, Krishna Priya, you can read.
Yes, Nafisa. साधिभूतादिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसाः. Translation. Those in full conscious of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
Those in full conscious of me, who know me, who will have full conscious of Krishna? Only those who know him, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principles of all the many material manifestation of the demigods and of the methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So, Krishna. So Krishna says, those who have full consciousness of me, who knows me as Supreme Bhavani, and they should know that I am the governing principle of all the material. That means the material manifestation is coming from me, and everything is controlled by me, and it is not by demigods. And all the methods of sacrifices, what you are doing to the demigods or to whoever it is on to me and can understand. And those who can understand him in this concept, in this mindset, can attain the Supreme Personality. Even if you get this knowledge at the time of death, but we should never think that, okay, if we get at the time of death also, it's okay, we will try to get it then. No, it's very difficult to get at the time of death. Only when we practice something from the childhood, it will come at the time of death. Otherwise, it will not come. At the time of death, it is impossible to get it. Like, if you want to make them chant Narayana also, Hare Krishna also, they cannot, something else, they will not be able to hear what we are saying. They will not be able to spell what we are saying. So you can never say, like my grandmother used to tell one story. There was one sinner, great sinner, who was about to die. So his children are good. Somehow they felt, somehow if we make our father chant Narayana, Narayana, Narayana when he is dying, maybe he will get a better birth next time. Why don't we practice? They make him practice this. That's what they thought. And when they thought that, what they did is they went to him and say, Father, please say Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So that man is not able to hear. So he is not able to understand what this fellow is saying. So this fellow wanted to somehow tell him that, say Narayana. So he didn't know how to say, and there was no picture of Narayana in the house. So what he did is, there is a rope in the house, which in Telugu, a particular type of rope, which is made up of coconut, cover of the coconut, which we call as Nara in Telugu. And there are two names for it. One is Nara, one is Pishu. So what they do is they take the thread and put it in front of his face, so that he will say, oh, Nara. So when he says, yeah, Nara, Narayana, that way they wanted to tell him. So this fellow, his mind is so bad, he starts saying, he doesn't say Nara, he says Pisu, Pisu, Pisu. That way, if we don't do devotion from our childhood, you can never do devotion at the time of leaving. So we should never think that we will do devotion at the time of leaving. So we should always do devotion from our childhood. You are all very fortunate children who are getting the knowledge of Krishna in your childhood. If these concepts are very strongly imbibed in you, like we at this age we are learning, and for us it is very easy to forget. We forget because our mind is already fully jam-packed. There is no place to go inside. So with great difficulty we push it, and then it bounces back, it comes out. But for you, you have such a clean mind where anything can go inside. So it's so important. So you children have got a chance of coming out of birth and death cycle. So that way it's very important to get the knowledge of Krishna. So this is where this chapter ends. But if you this chapter is the first chapter of the Bhakti section. So here, if you understand this, very important to understand this chapter. Okay, to summarize this chapter, Krishna speaks about because this is the first chapter of Karma Yoga. First, Krishna speaks about the knowledge of his own knowledge. Then he talks about and when he tells about himself, he says, to know about me, the best way is to hear about me. Otherwise, how will we know about him? So by reading also we can know, but by reading, we use our intelligence. When we use our intelligence, we can make a wrong interpretation. So you can, we may take it wrong. And if you hear, we will get the interpretations given by the gurus. So that will be correct. So then he talked about he said, by hearing about me, you will know about my jnana and vijnana. Jnana is about Krishna's opulence and energies. That means how great he is and we'll know. Vijnana is about his personal attributes and sweetness. So we'll know how good he is. The second part, we'll know about it. Such a person with jnana and vijnana are very rare. That's what Krishna says. A person with jnana and vijnana are very rare. And from 4th to this, he tells in the first 3 slokas. And from 4th to 12th, he speaks about his energies. 4th sloka, he speaks about the material energy. He says about the 24 material energies. So he talks about all the and about the creation and all even these 24 material energies we learned in chapter 2 also. So, and in the 5th sloka, he spoke about his spiritual energy, that is the living beings. He tells that the Parasakti and Aparasakti he talks. Parasakti is the non-living entities and Aparasakti is the living entities. And in the 6th sloka, he says, I am the source of both material and spiritual energies. And nothing that we see is anything that we see in this material world is a combination of this material and spiritual energies. And so here the doubt what we get is, okay, we know that means Krishna is there in everything and anything. That's what is understood from him. So the doubt one that we should get here is, okay, in living beings there is Krishna, fine, agreed, because we know that in all of us there is Atma and Paramatma. We know what is Atma, and Paramatma is Krishna. So in every living being there is Atma and there is a Paramatma. Is there a Paramatma in non-living beings? If there is a Paramatma in non-living beings, that means you should become a living being. Why it is not living being, it's only a differentiation we make. There is Krishna in everything and anything. Okay? It's not that we don't stamp on anything because Krishna is there, we cannot survive. But kicking things for no reason is like kicking Krishna only. So to prove that there is Krishna in non-living things, because you are all science students, I am telling you this example. Try to understand this example very clearly. If you understand this example very clearly, you will believe that Krishna is there even in non-living things. All of you know about the molecules, right? All of you, listen carefully. All of you know about the molecules. So molecules, what will the molecule have? A molecule is a combination of lot of atoms. You know that. And what are atoms? Atom is a combination of, it has protons and neutrons. So, okay, that also you act. And these things, and in between, it will have a nucleus. That also you know. Okay, and these protons and neutrons revolve around the nucleus. Do you agree? Are you agreeing with me? Hare Krishna, are you understanding? If you switch on your video and say you are understanding, that will be more convenient.
Yes, Mataji, we are understanding.
So here you have to understand there is a nucleus, and these protons and electrons are revolving around the nucleus. So understand, if it is a dead matter, that means there is a chemical, a calcium, or there is phosphorus, or there is something else. They are all made of the molecules. I agree. So what is a molecule? It has got protons, neutrons, and nucleus. How does it? So around the nucleus, these protons and neutrons are revolving. Revolving means nothing revolves on its own. We know the sun, around the sun, the total planets are revolving. We know how are they revolving? Because of the power of Krishna. Even here also, when there is a nucleus and something is revolving around it, there must be a power which is rotating it. Without any power which is rotating around it, how can it revolve? Got the point? That means even in non-moving, non-living material also, there is Krishna. Okay? So, are you convinced? Only because of the presence of Krishna, only because of the presence of the particular protons, electrons revolving, the movement around the nucleus, every item is getting its quality. Like the water has got its quality, or something else has got its quality. Like that, here also, the potassium has got one quality, the calcium has got one quality. But from where is that quality is coming? Because of the protons, neutrons, and electrons, and the revolving. From where are they getting it? Because of Krishna. That means Krishna is there in non-living entities also. This, you as children, I think if you understand this concept clearly, you will believe that Krishna is there in non-living objects also. Okay. So Krishna diffuses into everything. Krishna is there in everything. Okay, calcium behaves like calcium because of Krishna, and anything behaves like it's like that because of the presence of Krishna in it. And the rotation is the rotation of the nucleus, and the protons, electrons are because of Krishna. Hare Krishna. All livings will have Krishna. Okay, we all know this. Living will have Krishna. The Atma is there. The Paramatma is there. And so when the Atma enters it, it becomes a living. When our dead body, when we die, our Atma leaves, so we become non-living. But when the Atma enters, we become living. So that way, this concept all of you understand very clearly. And in the 7th sloka, he says, I am the maintainer of everything. We know that Krishna is the maintainer only because he is maintaining the total nature, the prakriti, the existence, the creation is going on so smoothly. Otherwise, the sun will not come, the rain will not come, the water will not come, the rotation will not happen, everything, 1 second, gone, everything. And from 8th to 12th sloka, he says he is the essence of everything. That means he says, I give the taste of water, I give the smell of the mud. And that way, whatever is there, he gives it. Otherwise, it won't be there. Okay? So, and he concludes in the 4 slokas that he is not under the influence of Maya. Even though Maya comes from him, he controls Maya. He is not covered under Maya. And in the 13th sloka, he says, as Jiva is under the influence of material Maya, we cannot understand Krishna. Because he is not under the influence of Maya. Like in our regular life, we have one saying, what is that? We get jaundice, no? When we get jaundice, wow, our eyes turn yellow. And everything we say around will look yellow. So that way, because that there is that yellow, it is not that my white saree has become yellow. My white saree has not become yellow. The yellow color in me is making the white saree look yellow. So that way, because we are under the influence of Maya, we think Krishna is also under the influence of Maya, but Krishna is never under the influence of Maya. It is only we who are under the influence of Maya. And in Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember the sloka number, there is a sloka which says, The quality, what is your quality? We know we are all under the modes of material nature, sattva, raja, tamo, gunam. When somebody asks, what is your quality? The answer is very simple. Whatever quality I see in others is my quality. If I see bad in everybody, that means I am a bad person. If I see good in everybody, I am a good person. Because that's what my heart recognizes. That's what anything we like, we recognize. See, we keep looking at so many things around. We go to a shop. When we go to a shop, your mother might look at a utility for the house because her mind wants to take care of the house. So that it will look. And your father might like something which will help him in his professional growth. And okay, and suppose you have your you may like something to play, and your sibling might be very studious. She will like to get a book. That way, whatever our mind likes, it will attract that. That way, if you say quality also, whatever is our quality, we see that quality in others. So that way, Krishna also, we think Krishna is under the influence of material modes. He is not under the influence of material mode. We are under the influence of material mode. In 14th sloka, he tells how to come out of the material mode. That is very simple. Surrender onto him. Just say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Every day keep chanting. That is surrender onto him. Accept everything. That he is everything. We will come out of the Maya. Okay. And he says 4 types of people surrender onto him. That is Moodas, and the other one is Naradhamas, and the other one is Apakrutas, and the 4th one is Jnanas. Okay, we have discussed in detail all this. Let us not go. And the 4th type is one who surrenders onto him. And he talks about 4 more types in 16. That is Artha, Ardharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani. Okay, and in 17th and 18th sloka, he says Jnani is the best out of all this. And in 19th sloka, he says, who surrenders onto me for several lives will reach me one day, if not today, some other day. So till then he spoke about how to surrender onto him. From then he speaks about the material desires, surrendering them because of material desires, how we are surrendering to demigods and not to Krishna. He talks about demigod worship. And that's what today only we have discussed. And from 20 to 23rd, about, from 19, he just refers to demigods, and 20 to 23rd, he tells about demigod worship. And he says, because of the too many desires in us, and because we want them to get fulfilled immediately, we go to the demigod worship. And those who have no Krishna reciprocates the way we go to him, approach him. Demigods also worship Krishna. He is very clear on that. Okay. Some call, later he talked about the Mayavadis, who say that Krishna is also a Maya only. He has not got no form. So he talked about the Mayavadis and said they are all no intelligent people. And then demigod worship, demigod worshippers are less intelligent, and Mayavadis are no intelligent, dumb characters. He knows, and he told that I know past, present, and future, and I know all of you in your heart what is happening, but you people can never understand me because you have no knowledge of me. And then now Krishna has introduced about 6 types of devotees who worship him, and he will talk about all of them in the 8th chapter. And the types what he has talked are 4 types are Sakama Karma Bhaktis, we all know about this, Ardha, Jnyasu, Ardharthi, Moksha Kami, all this he has introduced in the last sloka, which we are going to talk in the next session. And he says Jnani is the best, Jnani, and he also referred about Jnani, and he talked about Jnana Misra Bhakti. And he said Kevala Bhakta is the best, and pure devotee. Kevala Bhakta is Kevalam Bhakti, and means just like we say, just do it. We say just Krishna. That's it. and in first and this was described in the first sloka and the 19th sloka. This is about chapter 7. So here we conclude chapter 7. Hare Krishna. Okay, any doubts?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranav.
Hare Krishna.